Hey all, Bridget Bartlett here, and today I am going to show you how you can send data from HighLevel to Google Sheets. So you used to, of course, you can use, Pabbly, Zapier, Make, any of those integration tools that you're using. However, you really don't need those. You can actually do this organically inside of HighLevel without any of those additional tools. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Okay, so let me get out of here. First of all, the first thing that we need is a Google Sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new one. I'm just going to give this a name. We're going to call this GHL Google Sheet. And now we need to give our sheet some columns. Okay, now the use case for this could be many things. Okay, you may want to send all of your contact data to a salesperson or a VA. You may need to update the sheet so that it can update another software that you're using. Whatever your use case is for this, this is going to solve all of those problems. Sending the data from HighLevel to your Google Sheet. Okay, then of course, like I said, you could send the data from the Google Sheet to anywhere that you want to. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to give this column, this is going to be for the name. I'm going to say this is for the email, and then we'll just make this simple and say for the phone. Okay. So here's my first column. I do like to just make this bold. Sometimes I even like to add some fill color here. Let's just choose purple, and then we'll make our text white. The reason I like to do this because I can clearly see the columns at that point. Typically, I'm more anal than that, so I like to even get my own branded colors here and that stuff. But for this use case, we'll keep it simple here. Okay, so we have our three columns here. We have the name, we have the email, and we have the phone number. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to go into HighLevel, and of course we need to create a form. Okay, so I am going to, you can click new form. I've actually already created one here, and it's just simple, full name, email, and phone. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and actually instead of preview, I'm going to go to integrate, and I'm going to open up this form link. So what I want to happen, and of course we could make our trigger anything that we want to inside of HighLevel in the workflow, but I'm just going to use the form just to make it simple. And that's usually how we will receive our data inside of HighLevel is from a form. Okay. So once you have the form, you're ready to create your workflow or whatever you want your trigger to be. Like I said, this could be empty, so you can manually push them through. It could be an inbound webhook. You can see here. It could be when an affiliate's created, or any of these triggers could trigger this automation to take place. Okay, but we're just going to use a form to make it simple. I'm going to say form. And then we're going to choose the form that we created. So this one is the GHL Google Sheet form. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and give this a name. I'm just going to say GHL Google Sheet. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and save. So now whatever I put in this workflow is what's going to happen when someone fills out that form. Okay, now typically we would add like a tag, or maybe we want to add them to an opportunity in the sales pipeline, or add notes, or we could even assign users, add to another workflow. There's all of these things that we could do, but what we want to do, the main thing is we want to send to Google Sheets. Okay, so when you select the Google Sheets option, you'll see in the actions here that you have all of these options. Okay, you can create a spreadsheet row. You can look up a row that's already in the spreadsheet, or update the specific spreadsheet row. Update spreadsheet row using the lookup. So that means that you can look through the spreadsheet and find specific data. You could also delete specific spreadsheet rows and delete spreadsheet rows using the lookup. Okay. So when it says using the lookup, you have to put a lookup step before. So it would be like this step here, and I'm going to walk you through that. So the very first thing we would want to do, of course, is create a spreadsheet row. That's what a lot of people will do. And then here you want to choose the Google account that your spreadsheet is on. All right. Now I have two drives here, but you want to choose the drive the spreadsheet's on, and you can also choose the exact spreadsheet. Okay, so it's this one here. And then also the sheet that it is on. Okay, so that would be like down here. Okay, so this is called sheet 1. So we want to choose sheet 1. Okay. So now when you have that selected, then you can choose your start column. And you'll see that we have 3 of our columns, and that's pulled in from the columns that we created here. Okay, so I'm going to go back now, and we're going to choose starting from A column and then ending to the C column. Okay, so now we need to put the values in here that are going to represent each of our columns. Okay, so what value needs to be in column A to represent the name? All right, so we can use these little labels here and then go to contact and we'll say full name. Okay, so when we get contact in here, okay, and it has their full name, then it's going to take whatever data is in that full name column and it's going to place it here. Okay, so for the email, we want to go to contact and then choose email. And then for the phone, we want to go to contact and then choose the phone. Okay, so once that's set up there, of course, we want to save, and then we can go ahead and publish this. Now we can go back to our form here, and I'm just going to put in some data here. So let's just say I will do plus Jane 1, 2, 3. And if you're ever testing things and you want to use your actual email so that you receive it, but you want it to present itself like a new email, you can actually add your email and then a plus sign and then some characters here. So this can be anything, and this will actually show up in my info@myvisionagency.com email address. Okay, so this could be anything. So that's kind of helpful if you guys didn't know that. So we'll just say 555-6677 and submit. So once I do that, you'll see, and I would definitely want to change this here so that it's no background. Oops, go back. So that it's no background color, but you get the point there. Okay, so now we have that data that has moved to our Google Sheet. Okay, so that is super, super easy, right? Because I don't need any additional software to do that. Now going back here, if I click on the little plus sign here, and we go back to Google Sheets, you'll see Lookup Spreadsheet Row. Okay, so now I have data in there, and what I want to tell the system is create a new row, and then also we have Lookup. Okay, so it wouldn't make sense to create a new row unless you have a specific use case for that. Most of us are going to have data that we're going to look up in a spreadsheet so that we can use it, or we're going to create a spreadsheet row. Now, there's also the option to look it up and then create one if there isn't one. Okay, so I'm going to show you that one as well. So we're going to go through all of these. So I'm just going to delete this step now. We're going to go back to Google Sheets and we're going to do the lookup spreadsheet row. Okay, so we already have the data. I'm going to go ahead and choose the same drive, same spreadsheet, GHL Google Sheet. And here we're going to choose sheet 1. We're going to search from top of the sheet and we're going to choose the columns. So let's say what we want to do is we want to search the column that is the email. Okay, so that's kind of standard because you want to make sure if you have that email address, that exact email address, that you can choose this option here to create a new spreadsheet row if it doesn't exist. Okay, so we're going to choose email there, and then of course we need to choose our value. So we're going to go to contact again, and we're going to choose email. Okay, and then we don't have to. This could be case sensitive if we look it up. And then also, like I said, we could create a new spreadsheet row if the contact doesn't exist. Okay, so we can click that there, and then we can also choose what row, the starting column, do we want to add. So most of us would add that, and then the phone, so we would add all of that data. And then of course we want to remap this info here just by going through all of that. Okay, so same here, go to contact and then add the first name. Okay, so what we would want to do is now if we fill out that form again, it's going to look up by the email to see if that exists, and if it doesn't, it's going to add another row. So let's go ahead and just test that out. So let's refresh this here. and we're going to say Jane Doe again, but we're going to use, let's use a different email. So we're going to use 321, and then let's use a different phone number. So 888 555. Let's do 3214 and submit. Okay, so thank you for that. Now it's going to search this, and if that email doesn't exist, it's going to add a new row. So you can see it just added the new row there. Okay, we can also check that process by going to enrollment history, and now you can see the actions that have taken place. Okay, so that's super, super cool. Now, if you are, let me go ahead and delete this. Okay, we'll talk about the next one. So let's click the plus sign, go to Google Sheets, and then now we want to update a specific spreadsheet row. Okay, so I'm going to choose that. I'm going to choose the same Google account that we're using, the same drive. I'm going to choose the same spreadsheet that we're using, and of course, sheet 1. And now we have to insert the row number. Okay, so I could either type in a number here, or I could choose like a custom value. Now I don't have a custom value in here that would tell me like what the row number is that I want it to change or update. So that's something that you would have to build in to this. And then of course you have the starting column, and then everything is the same process. Okay, so you'd have to like create a custom value that would have the number that you want to correspond with the row number if you wanted to use this one, because it's saying update specific spreadsheet row. Okay, so this is for that purpose there. All right, so let's go back to Google Sheets again. And now we have update spreadsheet row using lookup. Okay, so we would actually have to look up the spreadsheet first. So let's do that. Let's go to my drive and let's look for the same spreadsheet. And we're going to choose the same worksheet there. And we're going to say that we want to look up from the email, and we're going to choose the email column and save action. Okay, so now we need this step. And if you tried to set the other step, let me explain. If you tried to do like update row from lookup, or if you tried to choose delete spreadsheet row from lookup, it actually would not let you because there isn't one. Okay, you have to have the lookup step first. All right, so like for example, if I chose here, you'll see when I click the drop down menu, there isn't anything. Okay, but if you put that option here after it's done the lookup, then you'll have the ability to update the row or delete, whichever one you choose. Okay, so I'm just going to say update row using lookup, and when I click there, now you'll see that it allows me to choose that step. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm looking up in the spreadsheet, the one that I created there, and now I'm going to tell it, when you look it up, here's what I want you to do. Okay, so we're going to choose the starting column, of course, the ending column is going to be phone. We're going to choose all of the data that we want to map out here. Of course, it's being wonky. I do want to say hello to Ray and Terry and Maria and Cindy, Website Creations. Thank you so much for joining me. I don't know why this is spinning. Sometimes if you ever see this, you may have, which I do, I've got way too many Google Chrome extensions out that are being used. That really weighs down your browser here. Something else you could do is refresh the screen. Okay, so I don't want to take all of your time here. I don't know why it's doing that. And I don't want to refresh because I'll have to rebuild this. But you get the point, right? What it's going to do is it's going to look up from the spreadsheet, and then it's going to update any of these columns based on the form being submitted. Okay, now you do have to keep in mind, if this is a workflow where they're going to enter multiple times and you want them to be able to enter, the workflow multiple times. Like, for example, to use this lookup, they would have to be in there. Now, they could have ended up in there in a different workflow, but if they ended up in there in this workflow and you want that to be the possibility, you definitely want to choose the settings and allow re-entry so that they can enter this workflow multiple times. Okay. So you can see here that once you choose that lookup function, then you have the options of choosing those others there. You also can, of course, delete a specific spreadsheet row, and that is also the same as update a specific spreadsheet row. So you'd have to have something that you're pulling that spreadsheet row from to be able to use this option where you're going to go and update that specific row. Okay, so hopefully I've cleared up how you can use the data from HighLevel to send to the Google spreadsheet without Pabbly or Make or Zapier or any of those integration tools. You can do this directly inside of HighLevel. Now, I do want to bring to your attention, though, that any of these premium triggers here that are marked in gold, they are premium, which means they do use the credits within your wallet. Okay, so you definitely want to go into the SaaS configurator, or you want to go into the company settings. As the agency owner, you control all of that, but just so that you know, the gold features are a credit-based system with LC. Okay, so thank you all so much for joining me. Again, if you want to join HighLevel or you're ready to upgrade to SaaS and you would like to do that through me, you actually get a free membership of my program. So definitely go to bridgetbartlett.com and check out all of those options. And I will see you all tomorrow, same time, same place. Go make your vision a reality. Bye. Thank you so much for joining us for today's training. If you have any questions, you can join us for open office hours starting right now at bridgetbartlett.com. It's free and open to everyone, so I'll see you there.